Marcus Holbrook thought he'd found paradise. A beautiful woman, a tropical country where his dollars stretched like royalty, and a family that welcomed him with open arms. But on one ordinary Tuesday morning, a single Facebook notification would reveal a truth so devastating that it would shake him to his core. What he discovered wasn't just betrayal. It was an elaborate scheme that had been running for 10 months. And the woman he'd planned to marry? She was laughing about him online, calling him the stupid foreigner to her real boyfriend. But here's where the story gets interesting. Because what happened next, after he lost nearly everything, would lead Marcus to discover something he never expected. Something that would change his understanding of love, trust, and second chances forever. This is a true story. And it starts with a lonely man in Sacramento who made one simple decision that would cost him $50,000. 62 years old. That's how old Marcus was when he finally admitted the truth to himself. His American dream had become an American nightmare. 37 years at the same insurance company, a divorce 10 years back, 2 adult kids who called once a month out of obligation, and a father who just died alone in a nursing home, clutching a photo of a family that had been too busy to visit. Marcus stared at that image and felt terror grip his chest. This is my future, he thought. This is how I'll die. The early retirement package sat on his desk, $180,000 in savings, and a message on his phone from a woman named Maya in the Philippines. Good morning. I wish I could cook for you someday. For 8 months, Maya had been his sunrise. She was 29, worked at a call center, and made him feel seen in ways he hadn't felt in years. When she suggested he visit, Marcus booked the flight the same day. What could go wrong? Everything. Everything could go wrong. The heat hit Marcus like a wall when he stepped off the plane in Cebu from Manila. But then he saw her. Maya stood in the arrivals area, wearing a yellow sundress. When she hugged him, something inside Marcus's chest cracked open. He hadn't been touched with affection in years. The first week was magical. Hidden beaches, street food, and holding hands in public. And then she took him to meet her family. The house was humble. Concrete walls, tin roof, 7 people in 3 small rooms. Maya's mother had diabetes and couldn't afford medication. Her younger brother Joseph had dropped out of college. Her niece slept on a mat on the floor. Marcus felt something stir in him. Not pity, purpose. I can help these people, he thought. That night, Maya's mother held his hand and said through translation, "Thank you for making my daughter smile again." Marcus squeezed back. He belonged here. Finally, he belonged somewhere. But here's what Marcus didn't know. In the back bedroom, Joseph was texting someone named Carlo. "The American is here. He's old and stupid. This is going to work." It started innocently. They were lying in bed when Maya went quiet. "It's Mama's medicine. 3,000 pesos this week, but don't worry, we'll figure it out." $55. Marcus handed it over immediately. The gratitude in her eyes felt like sunlight. Next week, Joseph's tuition, $400. 2 weeks later, the niece's dental work, $200. A month in, house roof repairs, $200. Each time Maya's gratitude was enthusiastic, reassuring. Each time Marcus felt necessary, vital, alive. He extended his visit. 1 month became 4. He rented them a nice apartment in Mandaue City. He covered groceries, utilities, and bought her a new iPhone. $600. And then came the big one. "I have a dream," Maya said one evening. "I want to open a sari store to help my family without always depending on you." She showed him a business plan. $5,000 total. Marcus transferred the money the next day. When she showed him the storefront a week later, he took photos. Proof that his money was making a difference. 6 months in, on a beach at sunset, Marcus proposed. Maya cried. She said yes, but that night, while Marcus slept, Maya texted Carlo. "He proposed LOL, another 6 months at least. How much do you need for the bike?" Month 9. Marcus had gone through $47,000. One Tuesday morning, Maya was in the shower when Marcus's laptop chimed with a notification. "Miss you, baby. 3 more days till the foreigner leaves for Manila. Can't wait to have you back." Apparently, Maya had logged into her Facebook account using Marcus's laptop and forgot to log out. Maya walked into the bedroom, saw the message, and her face went white. Maya was acting strange. She grabbed the laptop quickly. "Actually," Marcus said, "I need to use that." "No, I'm in the middle of something." Something in her voice tripped an alarm. "Maya, give me the laptop." "Marcus, please," Maya yelled. "Now," replied Marcus. He opened Facebook. The message from Carlo was there, but Marcus scrolled up and up. 3 months of messages. Photos of Maya and Carlo together, kissing, in bed, at restaurants. Time-stamped during weekends when Marcus had been traveling. "Did you get more from the Kano?" $50K? He gave it for the store." "Stupid foreigner. How much longer?" "As long as he keeps paying." He also saw the messages Maya sent to her girlfriends too. "Girl, don't you feel bad?" "Why? Foreigners never get smart anyway." The sari store? It was owned by Maya's aunt. Most of his $5,000 had gone to Carlo's motorcycle. The medical emergencies? Half real, half exaggerated, all milked for maximum extraction. Marcus stood there, water confused, feeling like the world's oldest, dumbest fool. "How long were you going to keep this up?" Maya sat on the bed, smoking. She dropped the sweet voice. She looked tired and harder than he'd ever seen her. "Until you got smart or went broke?" She said it matter-of-factly. "I loved you," Marcus said. Maya laughed, not cruelly, but genuinely. "No, you didn't. You loved having a young, pretty girl grateful to you. You loved feeling like a hero." She took a drag. "You know what you were? A retirement plan." "And Carlo?" "Is from my world. Someone who knows what being poor actually means." The words hit like bullets, partly because they were mean, mostly because fragments were true. "You came here wanting to buy paradise, to buy a wife. I just let you." Marcus felt something crack inside him, not just heartbreak, the shattering of an illusion he'd built about himself. Everything he had with Maya ended that night. He booked a flight to Manila. The next day, $47,000 gone. Heart shattered, pride destroyed. But here's the thing about hitting bottom. Sometimes it's the only way to see clearly. Marcus consulted a lawyer, a kind Filipina attorney who'd seen this story 1,000 times. "Do you have contracts?" she asked. "No." "Then legally, you gave gifts to your girlfriend. Proving fraud costs more than you'd recover." On his last night in Manila, Marcus went to a bar near his hotel. The bartender was Filipina, maybe mid-40s with kind eyes. Her name tag said Elena. "Rough trip?" she asked.
He didn't plan to tell her, but the whole story spilled out. Elena listened without interrupting. Then she said something that stopped him cold. "You came here for the wrong reasons, but that doesn't mean there aren't right reasons to stay." "What do you mean?" Marcus asked. "You wanted to escape. You wanted someone to need you. Those are selfish reasons." She wiped the bar. "Real love comes when you're whole on your own first, when you see the other person clearly, not as a fantasy or rescue mission." "And you think that's possible here?" Marcus asked. Elena responded. "Every country has scammers, and every country has real people. You just didn't know the difference yet." She smiled. "That's expensive education, but it's education." Marcus stared at his whiskey. "I have a flight in 2 days." "So cancel it, or don't. But don't leave because you're running," said Elena. That night Marcus didn't sleep. He thought about his father dying alone.
About Sacramento, where nothing awaited him but empty loneliness. He thought about Elena's words. At 3 a.m., Marcus canceled his flight. The next 6 months were different. Marcus moved to Dumaguete, a quieter university town. He rented a modest apartment, $200 a month. He didn't date. He joined a gym, started volunteering at a community library, teaching English, made friends with expats, and returned Filipinos who knew both worlds. He learned Bisaya phrases, are at local spots, stopped trying to be a savior and started being a neighbor. The Philippines stopped being a fantasy. It became real, complicated, beautiful and frustrating and human. One afternoon at the library, a woman approached him, mid-40s, dressed simply. "Mr. Marcus, I'm Rosa. I coordinate the reading program." They talked about literacy, about her work as a public school teacher, about community libraries. She was smart, funny, and refreshingly direct. "Why did you move here?" she asked during coffee. Marcus told the truth, the whole truth. Maya, the scam, the lesson. Rosa listened carefully. "Thank you for being honest. Most foreigners lie about why they're here." She stirred her coffee. "You at least learned. That's rare." They became friends first. Rosa introduced him to her family, slowly, naturally. No request for money, no sob stories, just family. After 3 months, when something broke in Rosa's home, she mentioned it. Marcus offered to help. Rosa asked if she could repay. Marcus never wanted her to. Rosa insisted. "No," she said firmly. "We're equal, or we're nothing." It was the first time a Filipina had refused his money. That's when he knew this was different. Marcus and Rosa's relationship grew slowly, with deep roots. She had her own money, her own life, her own dreams. She didn't need him. She chose him. There's a universe of difference. When they moved in together after a year, they split expenses proportionally. When her father got sick, she borrowed money from Marcus and paid it back in 6 months. She called him out when he fell into old patterns, when he tried to fix her problems without being asked, when he played hero instead of partner. "I don't need saving," she'd say. "I need respect." It was harder than his fantasy with Maya. It required Marcus to grow up, to be vulnerable without being a victim. But it was real. 2 years after leaving Maya, Marcus married Rosa in Dumaguete. His kids flew in. Rosa's entire barangay showed up. At the reception, Rosa's uncle approached Marcus. Through translation, he said, "You're a good man, not because you have money, because you listen, because you see her." That's when Marcus finally understood what Elena had meant. He hadn't found love when he first came to the Philippines. He'd found a transaction dressed in romance. Love only came after he'd stopped looking for it, after he'd stopped trying to buy it, after he'd done the hard work of becoming someone who didn't need it to feel whole. Marcus still lives in Dumaguete. He's 67 now. Rosa's 49. They run a small community center together. He thinks about Maya sometimes. Not with anger, with understanding. She'd been surviving a system that gave her no good options. He'd been feeding his ego and calling it love. They were both using each other. The difference was, she'd been honest about it, at least to herself. The $47,000 was gone forever. Marcus considered it tuition. Here's what he learned. Real love doesn't cost you everything. It adds to you. Real partners don't need rescuing. They need respect. Poverty isn't romantic, and wealth isn't virtue. If someone is with you for money, you'll never know if they're with you for you. The Philippines, like anywhere, has scammers and saints. Your job is to be wise enough to know the difference.